Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the regular board meeting for the Vallecitos Water District this October 1st, 2025 at 5 o'clock. Thank you all for being here. Before we begin, I would like to announce that members of the public may watch the meeting live online by visiting the district's website and clicking the Watch Live icon. And I've asked Chris Robbins to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
We'll do so. Hand on your heart, eyes on the flag, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. I'm going to ask Chris Robbins to do that more often. You do such a good job. Roll call. Directors, please indicate your attendance. Thank you. We are all here. Director Brown has that down pat. She knows the plus sign for positive and the negative. Perfect. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the regular meeting October 1st, 2025?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Please vote. There we go. Motion passes. Kirsten, do we have any public speakers?
No public comments.
No public comment today. So moving on to presentations, this will be exciting. We will be the ceremonial oath of office to the newly appointed Division 5 Director, Tanis Brown. Kirsten, I think this is you.
Well, before Kirsten starts,
Yes.
may I first say what a pleasure it is to have a full dais and people in our audience. So, so that's both a very happy pleasure for the general manager to see. And as soon as Kirsten's ready, we'll get started. So,
Yes, thank you. Did you bring some of these people with you, Director Brown?
Actually, I know a few people in the audience that
Well, thank you.
and I did tell them about it.
Thank you. She probably doesn't want to be recognized, but I
So-
see her.
And some surprises.
Yes.
so Director Brown had her ceremony. Sorry, not ceremony, but was sworn in at the last board meeting. But this is a ceremonial. So we're going to have an opportunity afterwards to take some pictures with just not only yourself in front, but also with the entire board. So, right?
I am. And it's okay if Tanis, Director Brown stays seating where she's at?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so we are going to go ahead and repeat everything after me, just like we did before, and I will kind of break it down nice and short there, so we don't have to repeat sentences after me and have a little memorizing game.
Okay.
So, I, Tanis Brown,
I, Tanis Brown,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution
and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of invasion.
that was a tricky one. I pushed it there a little bit. You did great. And that I will well and faithfully
And that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
that I am about to enter.
that I am about to enter.
Thank you very much, Tanis.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations and welcome to the board.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure, and I've learned a lot in a 2-week period.
Well, welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
It'll be fun. Any other comments? Moving on. Presentations. I know Chris Robbins has a few presentations today. I don't know if you want me to go ahead and announce these as it shows, or do you want to take that?
No, I think we could, if you don't mind, hand it over to Chris.
That's what I was going to do. I'll hand it over to Chris.
So each year, the Vallecitos Water District recognizes customers that showcase how beautiful, functional, and water-wise landscapes can really thrive in our community. The landscapes not only conserve water, our most precious resource, but they also inspire other neighbors to see what's possible when creativity and sustainability meet. Today, we're excited to celebrate the winners of this year's landscape contest, whose yards set an example of water efficiency and lasting beauty. And Alicia went out to all 3 of our winners, and I'm really happy to note that we have all 3 sets of winners today.
Hey.
Sometimes, if I get 2 out of 3, that's pretty good, but all 3 today. So I have a video queued up to share, and it'll tell the story, and then I've got some gifts for our winners.
Thank you. I look forward to these videos. You guys do such a great job.
We decided to do a full landscape because the side yard and then the backyard had no redeeming qualities whatsoever. We knew we had to do something. We had decided we would look at water-wise plans because we had a blank slate to work with. I was very happy when I received the Between the Pipes. Thought it was just a really good thing for a water district to send out information and saving water. That's when I learned about the contest. I was inspired by the before and after pictures of the previous winners. Our goal was to go to drought-tolerant plants so we wouldn't use a lot of water. The first feature is obviously the plants that are extremely colorful and they're all water-wise. The second feature that we love about our landscape is we have a large astroturf area. Then the third feature is our beautiful dry bed. The fourth great thing here is our seating area. You really can spend a lot of time in the backyard just chilling. I think it's very important that the Vallecitos Water District honors people who do want to get a water-wise garden. It's really wonderful Vallecitos District have this contest. It encourages more people, and I think part of it is because of the Vallecitos District support and having the contest and having the newsletter. Before this garden, I was sort of a gray and beige person. The beauty and the color, the vibrancy has turned me into a colorful person.
My name is Kelly Ellingson, and I've been a Vallecitos Water customer for 6 years. Found out about the contest when one of the Water District employees came by and let us know. The fact that Lisa came by to tell us about the contest, I thought was above and beyond. We were really excited and humbled. We were being honored in the contest. Favorite part of our landscape for us is how low maintenance everything is. Not having to worry about water and not having to worry about plants dying and replacing them. So we just did a little research and we found mostly California native plants that were drought resistant. As we started pulling things together, we opted for artificial turf. Now when we look at our water bill, we're pleasantly surprised each month to see that it's not only aesthetically the direction we were headed, but it's also saving us a lot of money. And before we did the transformation, it was a lot of rock and a lot of patchy grass coming through. It was very much a hodgepodge, so we had to start from scratch. So an old neighbor in Fallbrook who built some spec homes, he built sustainable homes, and I never forgot that he told us at some point water's going to be the new gold. We knew that we wanted to make sure we were planting things that were water sustainable, that we were kind of doing our part to save water. One tip I could really recommend would be replacing your spray nozzles to drip. Not only do you not get the overspray and the waste, but the drip, you don't even hear it, you don't even have to think about it, and it really made a huge difference. Biggest benefits for us was we really wanted to bring the outdoor in. The outdoor for us is just like an added living room. We live out here. We spend so much time out here that we're just so grateful that we did what we did 6 years ago when we first moved here.
Hello, my name is Tom.
I'm Georgia.
And we've been customers of Vallecitos Water District for 45 years and had grass for the longest time and decided we wanted to make a change. Found out about Vallecitos rebate program to help pay us to redo our yard. We decided to take out all the lawn, put in a water-wise landscape.
Did a lot of the work ourselves. Putting in the plants, we did that. We did the rock river. We maintain it ourselves. It is a lot more satisfying to see nature that surrounds us here.
So I look back at our water savings. We were averaging between 20 and 30 units of water a month, and now we're running in the 12 to 15 units a month, so quite a bit of savings.
And we have had people that will stop by and say, oh, we love your yard, and we will share with them. Part of this is the promotion through the Water District, that it's an amazing program Vallecitos Water District is using to encourage people to help us make better choices for our planet, for our water usage instead of grass.
It's rare for a company to encourage you to not use their product, and that's basically what they're doing, but for the sake of being in Southern California and conserving our water, it's important. It's exciting for us to be recognized for our work. We really appreciate Vallecitos Water District recognizing that we're doing something to help conserve water and to serve the community.
All right, so I have some gifts for our contest winners. So first, I'd like to invite up Susan Haskell, who's on Cedar Street, and present her with her award. So part of what you get is the yard sign, which you have to display, and then gift certificate to Green Thumb Nursery, and then more gardening equipment, including trowels, so you can do more work in the yard.
Chris, can I get a quick picture with you guys?
Sure.
Just a quick here, get one of our winners.
And you're all colorful today.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Well, this is great, obviously. I'd like to thank my neighbors across the street, Javier and Rebecca, because I would look at their beautiful garden across the street and then look at my mud pile. And so they were my inspiration. So I have to say thank you. And then they're here to help me celebrate. So it's been a wonderful experience. Alicia and Lisa are just salt of the earth, friendly, beautiful human beings. And it was a pleasure working with them, which I assume is a reflection of the whole district. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is our second place winner, Kelly Ellingson. Ellingson. Team effort, right? Right? Really the picture of this, keep your yard.
Okay, you got it.
Part of the fun. Gives you certificate of Green Thumb. And again, more work in the yard. And a little chance for the board.
Oh, thank you so much.
You like a quick picture?
Oh, yeah.
Quick picture, step in front, picture sign.
Very much.
Photographer, it's so nice to have somebody.
Well, we don't really have to say anything, but we'll just say thank you. And again, to mimic what you were saying, because I thought Alicia and Lisa were both, Lisa came up and actually was the one who told us about the competition. She did it last year, but I guess there was a hiccup or something, and so she came back around this year, and I just thought, how wonderful. I mean, they cared enough, and they went out of their way to do that.
Thank you.
It's special. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And our first place winners, Tom and Georgia Shultz on Old Twin Oaks Valley Road.
Yeah.
And I need the same thing, the yard sign.
I'll do the bag.
It's been all over the place.
I just wanted to thank you for the recognition, for the hard work. Like we said, we did a lot of the work ourselves. And again, we saw other people's yards. We were impressed with what they had done. And then we go around Lake San Marcos, saw some of the houses over there, and came up with a plan for ours that's kind of expanded. We've got a half an acre, so we have a lot more room to work with.
That was only the front yard. So, yeah, but thank you so much. It's just delightful that you're working so hard to make our planet a better place. So, thank you.
So board members, in conclusion, there will also be a Water News Network article featuring all three of our contest winners. And then also that same video that I just shared with you all will be up on the Water News Network.
Yeah, and to the winners, thank you, and please continue to use our products.
thank you. Great presentation. I love the videos. I don't know how they put those together so well. Were those bees and butterflies brought in, or was that,
No,
were those truly there?
Alicia has a talent that just, you know, it packs a punch, and I appreciate her so much.
Yeah. What's the dog's name?
Contest winners, you can stay for the board meeting if you like,
These are some great meetings, actually.
but you also don't have to.
But I want to know the dog's name, that dog that was in the video. That's Willow. Willow? Yeah, beautiful dog. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
We'll be driving around looking for the signs.
Yeah.
Thank you all. And now, moving on to the, do I say the more exciting? Less exciting? Moving on with the agenda. We have some consent items. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Director Kirschbaum. Second. Seconded by Director Elithar. Please vote. Motion passes. Thank you so much. Public hearing, see, this is a public hearing item. We will be, public hearing regarding a report on district water quality relative to the public health goals. Yes,
So
General Manager.
this is a time and place for a public hearing to accept the public health goals. Notice of the public hearing was published in the Union Tribune back in August 17th. And President PENNOCK, now it's your call to open the public hearing.
So do I have a motion to open the public hearing? Is there a motion? Do we have to motion that, or?
No, you just have to state.
Oh, yeah, let's open the public hearing. Open.
So the law requires that the district hold a public hearing for the purposes of accepting and responding to public comments on this report. Kirsten, do we have any speakers from this agenda item?
We've received no public comment or speaker slips for this item.
So,
Okay. So, I mean, any questions from the board, but are we gonna have a presentation first, right?
we will have questions, a presentation in a minute, so.
Well, let's have the presentation, yeah.
All right.
Eric, you're on.
Good evening, directors and maybe members of the public. Thank you for coming tonight. We'll be walking through the Public Health Goals, or PHG, report for 2025. This presentation will explain what PHGs are, why these reports are required, what we found in our water system, and most importantly, what they mean for the health and safety of our customers. And I want to assure you up front that our water meets all state and federal safety standards. PHGs are very conservative, health-based, aspirational goals. They're not enforceable limits, and they're set at levels far below we actually see in our daily life. At the end of my time, I will recommend that the Board of Directors accept and allow staff to file this report. And that is because the state, even though they require this report to be prepared and presented to the public, it is not given to the state. They do not request a copy. No, they do not have an approval of it. It just is here for public comment or review if needed.
Okay.
We'll begin with reviewing what a PHG report is, why we prepare it, where our data comes from, and what the report means. After that, we'll review the constituents detected and listed in the report, and in closing, I'll take any questions you have. As General Manager Gumpel said, California Health and Safety Code 116470 requires water utilities with more than 10,000 service connections to prepare this report once every 3 years if their water quality constituents have exceeded any public health goals. PHGs are non-enforceable goals established by Cal EPA's Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, or the OEHHA. The law also requires, when OEHHA has not set a PHG for a constituent, that we use the federal equivalent, the maximum contaminant level goals, or the MCLGs, which have been adopted by the US EPA. This year's report covers sample data from 2022 through 2024. It contains only constituents that have a California primary drinking water standard and for which a PHG or MCLG have been set. This report includes the health risk, the category of risk, the best available technology, or BAT, for treating the water, for the constituent, and the estimated cost for treatment. It's also good to note that many of the costs shown here would be in addition to current treatment costs. And unlike the enforceable standards, the MCLs, which we meet and are often far below, PHGs are much stricter and based on a 1 in a million lifetime risk assumption. The data for this report comes from testing from 2022 through 2024. And I know you're thinking every 3 years, but I have 2 listed here. That's because these are fiscal years, so think of it as 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, ending in June this year. The data comes from our partners, including Metropolitan Water District, San Diego County Water Authority, and other local agencies. For this report preparation, we follow guidelines set by ACWA, the Association of California Water Agencies. This is because the state has not provided guidance on how to prepare the report, only on its contents. For each constituent, a BAT is recommended to reduce levels of that constituent, but it's also important to note that the treatment at the PHG level is often not practical or even technologically possible. That's why the enforceable goals, the MCLs, are the benchmarks we follow. Now we'll get into the constituents. Over the past 3 years, we've monitored several constituents. A few of these were detected above their PHG, but we're still well below the enforceable standards. To put some of the numbers in perspective, 1 part per billion is like 1 drop inside of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. 1 part per trillion is 1 drop in 20 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So even though we're talking about detection limits here, with 1 part per billion, 1 part per trillion, these are very minimal sizes and incredibly tiny amounts. So briefly walk through the constituents now. Arsenic. This is a naturally occurring in soil and rock. The federal limit is 10 parts per billion. A range from 0.6 to 2.9 was measured, which is well below the legal limit. The PHG is much lower at 0.004 parts per billion, and reverse osmosis is the recommended treatment method. Bromate, which is a byproduct of disinfection. We are above the PHG but remain under the MCL of 10 parts per billion and measured at 8.5 parts per billion. And reverse osmosis, again, is the recommended treatment method. Coliform bacteria, while this isn't a harmful organism in itself, it is an indicator organism that we monitor closely. Our levels did not come close to the MCL, and that is the 5% of positive samples in 1 month. But with the PHG set to 0, having a single positive sample requires that we put it on this report. Copper and lead, these come from household plumbing, not the source of water itself. Our results are well below the action levels thanks to the current corrosion control in our system, keeping our water pH balanced.
Before you go on, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
Is it okay to interrupt?
yeah,
Sure.
can I just ask a question?
When she turns her mic on, I know she has a question.
Thank you, President Pennock. You list on the action levels, you list the MCL first, and then the public health goal is the second value. What is DLR?
That is the detection limit for reporting purposes.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then the coliform bacteria line is bolded because we just had 1 detection over 12 months. And then the ones that aren't bolded, those could be above the PHG, but they're below the MCL. Yes, is that
Correct.
right?
Every one of these is listed on the report because it was above the PHG, but below the MCL.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. So moving on, radiologicals. These occur naturally in some water sources like the Colorado River. And again, detections were above the PHG, but below the enforceable MCL. And again, reverse osmosis is the recommended method for treatment. Hexavalent chromium, this occurs naturally or via industrial discharge. Detections were slightly above the PHG, but well below the enforceable MCL. And additional filtration is the recommended treatment. NDMA, and please don't make me say the whole word, is a byproduct of manufacturing and tobacco smoke. Detections ranged from 6 to 22 parts per billion, which is above the PHG but far below the enforceable MCL. And granular activated carbon is the recommended treatment method. Trihalomethanes and halioacetic acids, these are byproducts from the treatment process. They are monitored closely and remain within the safe drinking water standards. The detection range was 13 through 45 parts per billion, which again is above the PHG but below the MCL. And again, granular activated carbon is the recommended treatment method. In all cases, some results were above the extremely conservative PHGs. Our water consistently meets all water quality standards and MCLs, which are designed to protect public health, and all results comply with state and federal regulations. In closing, I want to re-emphasize that point. Our drinking water is safe and meets all federal and state standards. PHGs are set extremely conservative, and while we report on them, they are what we strive to accomplish in the future. They are not enforceable limits, and we continue to monitor, treat, and invest in technology to maintain the highest water quality standards possible. And now, staff recommends that the Board of Directors accept this report and allow staff to file it as required by law. And I will take any questions you have.
Thank you, Eric, for that presentation. There's a lot of long words in there.
Yes.
Has the PHG's levels, have they changed over the years? Have they made them more stringent, or have they been pretty level the last 10 years?
I would probably say they've stayed the same. More constituents are getting added as they come, like for example the PFOS and PFOs, those were added in 2024. The reason why you didn't see them on here is because when we tested for them during our UCMR4 sampling, we didn't detect any. So those typically affect groundwater more than surface water, which is what we are.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I know I asked this before, but how long has this requirement been in place? It's just like a state requirement that we have to have this presentation?
This has been going on since 1996 with the Safe Drinking Water Act.
Okay, and then the second question I have is who sets the PHGs and how are they decided?
Those are set by the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, the OEHHA, sorry. And that's an office of Cal EPA.
Okay.
So those are, I couldn't tell you how those standards specifically came into place, but that's the office that sets them, and that's what everybody goes by.
I had a question.
Director Brown.
So each of the items, the carcinogens and things like that, were listed independently. What happens when they're all in the water? Is there any cross-pollination? Does it make it worse? Or how do you estimate that, the cumulative residue or whatever is in the water? Is there any way, if there's any kind of cross-pollination that makes one copper and lead mixed together worse? Or I'm just curious.
For these specific ones, no, I wouldn't say that that's the case. These are, obviously there's a lot of scary stuff on here and when you see it, but each one of these individually in the quantities that we're reporting, as I mentioned earlier with the 1 drop in a swimming pool, it's such a small amount. And also, like I said earlier, it's these are based off of the 1 in a million assumption. So what that basically means is one person should be able to drink a couple liters of water a day for over 70 years, their entire lifetime, and only one in a million who did that might have a health effect.
Okay.
That's what these are set for.
Those are good. That's a good statistic. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Sorry, I just have one more question. How much time, how much staff time do we spend on this every year?
Sampling?
No, I'm talking about
report.
doing the presentation for the PHGs
Oh.
because this is above and beyond what our requirements are for drinking standards, and it's going like way beyond what the MCL is. So I'm just curious how much money and time that we invest as a district into this exercise.
Well, to put together the report, like I said, all the data comes from our wholesalers because we purchase 100% of our water, and it mixes in our water sampling that we perform in-house. But on the report itself, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks of actually putting it together, collecting the data and writing it all down. I couldn't put a monetary value on that though.
Okay, so a couple weeks of your full time and then maybe somebody else?
I would probably say our water operations staff, our water operations supervisor, and their lead. They're the ones that primarily put the report together because they're the ones that also do the CCR that we reviewed earlier this summer. And then once they have it together, then I review it and we go over it together.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board or to the board? Any other public speakers, as this is a public hearing?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
Great report, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Great, it is a great report, thank you. If there is no further persons wishing to address the board or questions, I will now close the public hearing. Thank you, Eric, appreciate that.
We're going to need a motion. You need a motion.
I didn't need one to open.
It's an honor.
Oh, okay.
I'll move
May I have a
staff's-
motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move staff's recommendation.
There's a motion, and I'll second that. Please vote. Motion passes to close the public hearing.
I think his motion was to accept staff's recommendation.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
So that's what I seconded as well. So a motion.
That's what I voted on. So.
Motion to accept the report as presented from Eric. Thank you. Thank you. Accept the file, and it doesn't go anywhere.
But the governing body needs to accept the file.
Okay. Accepted and proposed and motioned and passed. And thank you, and now I will close the public hearing. Thank you. Anything else? No. Moving on. That was a public hearing. Now we're moving on to action items. Action item 4.1 will be an update to the standing advisory committees, appointments, and board-appointed agency representatives. Kirsten, do we have any public speakers on this?
4.1, no public speakers for this item.
Okay. Do you have any presentation?
No, this item is your show, sir. So now that we have a full dais, we could reload and shuffle around the committees as recommended, and it just takes board majority approval.
So yes, no, I had the opportunity to talk with Director Brown, and basically just, there's a two committees that we discussed. One, yes, to appoint to the P3 committee. Should be great. I think it'd be great, and you're on that as well. So that would be Director Kirschbaum and Director Brown working with Chris Robbins with that one. And I think we talked about that one. I mean, that's what I was looking for. And then as well as the alternate for EWA, the ENCINA wastewater, to replace Director Hodgins on that. And legal and legislative affairs as well. It's already, right, so you're good with that? So I'd like to make those recommendations to appoint Tanis Brown as the committee member for legal legislative, P3 committee, and ENCINA wastewater, and we'll hold off on the U.S. Water Alliance for right now.
So just for clarification, so that what's showing here doesn't show that. So everything here is accurate except you're removing yourself from P3.
Correct.
Okay. And
I didn't
adding
even-
Director Brown.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Tanis, correct. We good with that, Director Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any comments, questions on those committee assignments? If there isn't, may I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Director
Second.
Hernandez, seconded by Director Kirschbaum. Please vote. Thank you. Moving on to action item 4.2 will be a review of the fiscal year 2025 tactical plan initiative, final report, and proposed FY 2026 tactical plan initiatives. This is for informational purposes only.
Yes, and while we get the presentation queued up, so the board may recall that every year staff puts together tactical initiatives, and the tactical initiatives is based on, let's see, I think it's actually queued up now, so I'll get right into it. So this is the fiscal year 25 and 26 tactical plan. This is a summary of basically the work that was accomplished in fiscal year 24-25 and the work that's being proposed in fiscal year 25-6. So a little bit of background, I won't spend too much time on it. The board adopted a strategic plan in 2022, and it was actually done from the top down, from the board through management, and from the bottom up, staff through supervisors through management, and it was combined into what we have our strategic plan now. This establishes vision, it establishes the values for the plan. It's basically the North Star, the guiding light in which the board says move forward on these objectives. Of that, in the strategic plan, which is our long-term vision, we have 6 areas. They include basically our infrastructure, continuous improvement, our workforce, fiscal responsibility, our public face, our outreach, and environmental stewardship. These are the 6 what we call strategic focus area, and they are long-term goals. It's continuous work going forward. You never really achieve any of them. There's a lot of strategies within them themselves. Our tactical plan, some people call it a business plan, but here we call it the tactical plan, is the work plan that staff puts together to move these goals forward. So this is short-term, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Some of them are multiple year, but really short-term goals that are measurable and achievable. And they're set and prioritized by staff. Staff works through the management team all the way down to the staff level to prioritize projects to basically come up with these tactical initiatives. So short, we call them TPIs, tactical initiatives, tactical plan initiatives. So here's a review of what we did in 24/25. We had 59 initiatives over the 6 focus areas. Of the 59 initiatives, we completed 90% either complete or made significant progress on. So that's 33 successful completion. We checked them off the list. We're done. We accomplished it. And we had 20 of them that we made significant progress that we rolled over. And many of them we intended on rolling over. Some were a little bit ahead of schedule, some a little bit behind schedule. And we have 6 that we didn't start for various reasons. So with that, let's talk about the different areas. The first areas are infrastructure. And before we do, I want to just clarify one thing. I'm extremely proud, I think I put it in my email that I sent of what staff has accomplished this year. This 90% completion with the staff shortages and other challenges and in the middle of with setting rates and everything else that we did was beyond my expectations. And the staff, the management team, and down to the staff, they really did work beyond expectation to accomplish this. So from a general manager standpoint, what they accomplished was when I saw the numbers, I actually had Jason double check it, and when he double checked it, I actually had him triple check it. So they did an amazing job. And I'm not going to go through every single one, but in your packet you have a list of every single tactical plan initiative for 24, and you also have a list for everything that we're proposing for 25. The board at any time could ask any questions of either ones that are highlighted or ones that are in your packet. And I have the experts here that are anxious to talk about it. So if they do, I'll bring up the appropriate staff member to discuss those items. But to get going with the presentation, on the first area is really our infrastructure. And these include a lot of projects, maintenance, different things that account for that. We had 7 successes. Some of them are, metal-like fail-safe rehabilitation and starting construction on the Montiel lift station. Those are kind of big ones. Our lead service line inventory, which was a regulatory-driven work that we actually didn't expect, so we had to react to. But completing that and meeting the deadlines was also very important. With 6 rollover projects, and that includes some of our upgrades on our SCADA system. And what we did is this year with the budget constraints, you'll see that we changed some scope, we moved some stuff around, and it affected the projects. So, and then we did a ductile iron pipeline condition assessment, and really, it's ready to go. We probably would have had it completed in time, but with staffing shortages, it really is, and the ball's in our court. We just haven't been able to do it. In our second area, which is what I call the continuous improvement area, the organizational improvement and efficiency area, 5 completions. We're basically migrating data, integrating systems, getting systems to talk better with each other. This is a really important business process. Without this first steps, really, you can't move forward with driving further efficiency. 6 rollover projects. A lot of them were within our SCADA system, but we did develop a cross-connection control policy, which was required, and actually that would have been completed also, but it's actually been at the state level. We're waiting for comments. But we didn't start 3. So our network security, an upgrade for network security, I know this is near and dear to some of the board members' heart. That's important, but with our existing security, working with our our Chief Technology Officer, is pretty robust. This is really the next step, so we decided to, with budget constraints, push this off a little bit. And some emergency exercises for, contamination event exercise, other exercises. With staffing shortages, we just held off. So these are things we plan on doing in the near future. Workforce excellence, 6 completed. We're basically making things more electronic. You're going to see a theme, whether it's happened already or we're moving forward to making things a little bit more electronic and more secure. We also hired a safety and training specialist, and this is important because you're also going to see a theme of proactive injury prevention and more data-driven decisions on how we train people, where people get injured coming up. We have 3 rollover projects that are currently in progress. That includes on the safety side, conducting job safety, looking at hazards. We've done our ops people in Building B already, which is the primary source of both risk from that vantage point. And we're also going to be doing our Building A people, which are admin people. And not started is really explore early retirement incentives, and we just didn't focus on that mainly due to staffing needs. Right now, our HR team of really 1.5, really it's Bridget, and where we could spare Denise's time with many vacancies have been very overloaded. So fiscal responsibility, 8 successes. The board's well aware that we've multi-year in a row winning for our ACFR, which is our annual comprehensive financial report, and we continue that tradition. But what the board may not be aware of was we started a pilot project for our advanced metering infrastructure, AMI, which is remote metering remote reading of meters out there. So you don't have to send meter readers out; it all comes in electronically. So it's a multi-year project. We went ahead and started that. We're looking at. We're actually in process of testing and pilot testing that process now. Before we move forward with anything, this will be further discussed through committee and further board meetings. As far as rollover projects, we looked at developing a dashboard, and you'll see this as a theme. We're trying to develop dashboards for several different departments that are not only full of information, but also maybe publicly available and also available to the board. However, a lot of the solutions are very pricey. So we're looking at internal options to provide the information at a cheaper cost. So as far as the 5th area, which is our outreach area, 4 successes. That includes, we developed a video series called Vallecitos in the Community. We're supposed to do 8 to 10 videos, and I think we overshot a little bit, which I'm very happy about, with 20 videos. It was very well received. It shows how Vallecitos is part of this community, how we give back to this community, and how we're integral in the day-to-day lives of the different neighborhoods basically around. One of the things, and we've been researching new customer welcome packet. It's something that we really want to do. So going outside for it is pretty expensive, so now we're moving more inside for a customer welcome packet. As far as rollover, we didn't do any HOA landscapings. However, we did that nice landscaping over at where we converted turf into more drought-tolerant landscaping over in Furniture Row. But the one that maybe the board has seen is the video that Chris and his team put together for Bradley Park, which is partnership with the city. So, and then not started exploring bulk purchases and basically to shared services. So can we pool with other agencies and maybe get discounts or a better price on certain things? This is a continued effort to try and figure out ways to cut costs. The good news is we have a new public utility billing manager that is, we've made the offer, they've accepted, they'll be coming on board sooner or later, and this will fall into their lap. So hopefully next year you'll see we've made progress on it. It may not be done, but we've made progress on it. And environmental stewardship. Our water loss validation came through on time, and we're on schedule with our urban water management plan. Our direct potable rios, we're going to be seeking basically grants and other funding to fund that project. And the only thing that we didn't get started, and mainly just because of staffing, is our climate progress report. So with that, if there's any questions on fiscal year 24-25, which is what was accomplished basically that year, let me know. If the board has any questions, we can bring up appropriate staff. Again, I want to reiterate, I'm extremely proud of the staff and what they accomplished. That 90% completion exceeded last year's, and it was a very, very, I won't say aggressive, but ambitious plan that staff put together. And when we announced this, or when I did this presentation last year, I was a little nervous we wouldn't get as much done as we did. So I think staff did an amazing job. So before I go on to 25, 26, which is what we're planning to do this year, if there's any questions from the board, we could definitely address them, or we could wait to the end.
Any questions, or do you want to wait? We'll wait for the end.
Yeah, that's great. So 25, 26, our current fiscal year that we're in right now, we have 57 initiatives, but 24 of them are brand new. So 42% brand new, 33 of them are rollover. So with that, I kind of combine things. I don't want to keep you here forever. So on focus areas 1 and 2, which are infrastructure and organization, basically continuous improvement, we have 15 rollover items, and some of them are repeats from the earlier slides. But one of the things as far as projects go, we're looking at upgrading how we control our SCADAs, how we automate and automatically control things. We're also looking at completing some big projects, like the projects in Meadowlark and Tres Amigos, which is our big water project. As far as new items, we have several projects, which includes another tank refurbishment. The big one that will affect the board a little bit, because it will end up affecting this building, is the district's headquarters HVAC replacement. So the plan is to complete the design. We're going to move forward with some other safety process and safety procedures. You're going to see a theme. We're trying to get data-driven decisions on how to train and where to avoid injuries for our staff. Focus areas 3 and 4, which is workforce and also our fiscal responsibility. So around 11 rollovers, we're revising our purchasing policy. I've been talking about this with the board. We actually have a great draft that Wes and the management team put together, but now that we have that new purchasing utility billing, which I'm going to shorten by saying pub manager coming on board, we want that person to take a look at this purchasing policy before we bring it to committee and board. Complete the 218 process, so that we're right in the middle of that process right now. So. And then revised recycled water agreement. This is something that's been worked on and off for 5 to 7 years now, and we're pretty darn close to the finish line. A big thanks to Mike, Wes, and both Jason for helping carry this across the finish line soon. Yeah. As far as new items, we want to reduce injuries. We have some aging workforce items. We also have some items where there's typical injury points. We want to get that decision. We want to reduce injuries. This is not only good for our staff, this is also good for our insurance rates. So we want to implement new live scan fingerprinting, and we want to implement electronic payments. And the board heard a little bit about that today. So, and the last 2 fiscal areas, strategic focus areas 5 and 6, which is our public info and our environmental stewardship. You're going to hear a lot more this year, most likely, about functional turf, so getting rid of turf that's not functional and programs for that. So we want to move forward in that. Our Meadowlark direct potable reuse feasibility study, we want to have. It's a multi-year project, but we want to secure the grant funding this year. And some of the highlights. And of course, we want to do the urban water management plan. That's a requirement. We have to get it done. I don't know when the final date is, but it's within this fiscal year. Some of the highlights of 5 new items in this is we're developing a value of water video series, about 6 to 8, and we're already well on our way. And you're going to see a presentation today that's not a video, but that talks about the value of water. We want to expand and research expanding our internship programs. I think they've been very successful, and we want to do it in a smart way where it doesn't impact staff negatively and provides real value to the interns. And you may or may not know, but our solar panels here at the district have reached end of useful life. They're no longer really producing anything, so we need to figure out what to do next with them. So, in conclusion, last fiscal year was very successful. We had a 90% completion rate. This fiscal year, we still have a very ambitious and tactically strategic goals that move our focus areas forward. With that, I am happy to answer any questions or at least bring up the experts who can.
Whew, good job. General
Question.
Manager, question, yes.
The solar panels, is that district-wide? Because we have hundreds of panels.
No, only at the headquarters. Those were installed.
Oh,
in
the
two-
headquarters.
Yeah, those were installed in 2025, I believe, or maybe 2005, 2006 time era. And they've pretty much, their end of useful life, their production's down, the inverters don't work consistently. They provide shade,
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it, right? They provide shade and they've also become a fire risk, yes.
okay, yeah, good.
Shade and fire. Thank you for the report. Looks like 2025, you raised the bar, and now 25, 26, you gotta, I don't know, you raised the bar, now you gotta, we've gotta keep up
I'm
there.
trying to keep the bar at the same level, 25, 26.
That's like a pole vaulting bar there, that's not even high jump material, that's awesome. No, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Oh, I just wanted to say that was an excellent presentation. Thank you to staff for your work over the last year, and thank you to our leader, General Manager Gumpel, for steering the ship in such a great way. So I appreciate it.
Yes, ditto. Fabulous job across the board, everywhere. Thank you. One quick comment on you brought up injuries a couple times. We've been really, really good. Has that gone up a little bit over these last few years?
Yeah, yes, it has, but we've been without basically a safety person.
Right.
Now we have a safety person on hand, and we're going through making sure staff is trained. So there's been a change in the amount of injuries. We also have an aging workforce too. So in that case, we've had other injuries there. So overall, we're taking a fresh look at how we approach looking at where those potential injury locations or activities are.
Gotcha, thank you. And I don't know if we've looked at it, yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you. As a new member of this panel, it's amazing all the things that go on behind the scenes that we who just turn on our taps don't understand what's going on. So I wish everybody was here in the audience to hear all the great things that are going on. Thank you.
Thank you, and there is a lot of great things, thank you. On the work comp side, I know, because, we all have our talents, and sometimes we can reach out to JPIA, and they provide,
We do.
and they come out, and they'll do meetings, no cost to us at all, right?
No, it's part of the,
Their process of coming out.
it's part of the process.
See, I know you love to speak at these meetings, that's why we get you up.
It is part of the process that we have with JPIA. So we have a senior risk advisor that comes
Right.
out a couple times a year, goes over, well, actually, I think you get a report, and it goes over all of our EMOD rates and where it shows us where our injuries are, which is why we're working closely with safety. We're going to start creating a dashboard, which is sort of what James was talking about. That's going to be showing where our injuries are, the types of injuries. We've also started working with the guys to, when they're going out to go work on a project, they're starting to do some safety reviews before they actually go out to the site. So we're changing up our strategy quite a bit now that we have a safety person on board.
Nice, that's good. Those are
I'm not
important.
going to say our EMOD's necessarily going to be down, but we're working towards that, yes.
Because it's been, historically, it's been very, very low.
It's gone the last couple of years.
Has it?
It's over, yeah,
Interesting.
we're high, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll be good to see the progress. No, great progress, great goals, great initiatives, great presentation across the board. Any other comments, questions? Thank you. And with that, this is for file only. Thank you, appreciate it. Moving on to item 4.3 will be an update on the 2025 Prop 218 cost of service study. Thank you. Kirsten, this is different. I like it. I'm just learning how to do it. That's why I'm a little bumbly tonight. I'm going, okay. I like it. I've just got to learn it. She's got a new prompt sheet for me.
Yeah, I knew it was new because it's blue.
It's blue. One is blue, and it has the will be moving
I
on.
think I needed to change from the green, with being the water agent.
I like the blue, and I like the added. I just now I'm noticing. I'm going, why am I a little off? It's like, that's why. But thank you. And Kirsten, do we have any public speakers on this item?
We have not received any public comments for this item.
Thank you so much. We will move forward. May I have a presentation?
Yeah, so I'm going to lead off. This is going to be a team event here. I'm going to start off and then hand it over to my financial dream team here, both Wes and Mike. But first, I want to give a little perspective of the Value Water. And unfortunately, we did not have any interest in the public workshop, but this is part of what we would have presented at the public workshop. So, and this is really to provide a perspective on the value of water compared to the services that Vallecitos provides and how much that actually costs our customers. A little different perspective. People usually don't think of it this way. When I looked at some of the stuff in this presentation, the numbers, they amaze me. And part of this is what we also present. A portion of this is at the Citizens, the Water Academy. So I thought it'd be good to bring it here, and my hope was we'd have a room full of people to look at. But we do have a few people here, so I'm happy about that. So with that, let's start with the foundation. When I go around my neighborhood and people know where I work, they're actually surprised when I tell them that Vallecitos is actually a nonprofit. Because if you think about most of your utilities, whether it's Cox or PacBell or AT&T, they're a for-profit utility, and we're nonprofit. And for-profit water companies do exist, even right here in San Diego County and other places in California. So it's pretty natural for people to forget that Vallecitos is a nonprofit. And what does that mean? The funds from our ratepayers go directly and back to our community. So we don't overcollect or undercollect. The funds that we collect are reinvested back into the communities that we serve. So we don't operate for a profit. So our rates are set to basically meet our needs and cover our costs, and also cover our costs our future projects. But one of the other confusions is when they see new development and building, there's an assumption that what's being built there is coming out of their water rates, and that can't be further from the truth. So that is completely untrue. The way we work right now is growth pays for growth. Growth has to build their own facilities. So if a neighborhood goes in and they have to build all the water and pipelines, is built by that developer. The rates that we collect from our customers cover our operation, maintenance, and rehabilitation or replacement costs for the existing facilities only. And that's something that is maybe not unique to every agency, but this is what we do. And this is also why our rates are very directly tied into the actual operational costs here at Vallecitos. And our developer rates, what we collect from developers, pay for expansion. Make an 8-inch pipe into a 12-inch pipe, that's done through developer rates, not user rates, user or customer rates. So, and that's an important distinction. I want to set the foundation there, because without that understanding, a lot of times things go sideways. So let's talk about how we bill water. We bill it in units of water, and people say, what's a unit of water? And I tell them, well, it's 100 cubic feet. And they say, what's 100 cubic feet? It's 748 gallons. Okay, and how big is 748 gallons? And I tried to find and I'm still searching for a perfect frame of reference. So I looked at a big fridge, not your counter depth fridge, but a big boy fridge, right? The ones that are deeper than your counter depth, and they're roughly 3 foot by 68 inches by 32 inches deep. And in a cube, a theoretical cube that holds 748 gallons, you can fit 2 of those big fridges in there, okay? Just about. That's pretty big. Another perspective of it, here's that cube, is you fit 3 very large men in there and they have plenty of room. So I don't know if any of these really are good adages. I tried to compare it to a front door. I tried to do something else, but I want to give credit where credit is due. Lisa helped put this presentation together. She is way more creative than I am. So with that, people also don't understand what delivering water entails. They don't understand the numbers. So this is water by the numbers. So we've already established that 1 unit of water is 100 cubic feet. That equals 748 gallons. That 748 gallons weighs 6,240 pounds. Just for reference, a Chevy Suburban weighs between 5,800 and 6,000 pounds typically. I don't know if that's with fuel or without though. But it's heavier than a Chevy Suburban. We deliver to our single-family home customers an average of 13 units a month. That's 13 of these a month. So you could times 13 by that 6,000. That's a lot of it. We deliver it right to your tap. We deliver around 18,000 units a day, especially in the summertime. That's over 6.6 million units a year, or just a hair under 5 million gallons a year. We send out over 274,000 bills a year, and I think you've heard Mike here state that my 274,000 lines of data, there they are. So, and we do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365.25 days a year. Now, I want to stress something, because a lot of people, including my wife, are very impressed with Amazon. Amazon could deliver something the next day, sometimes even the same day, later that same day. It's absolutely amazing. Anytime you order water at your house, we deliver it instantly. Amazon has nothing on us. And we don't, that's a lot of weight that we deliver too. So with that, I also want to kind of transition to what's the value of water. People think about drinking water and what they pay for drinking water. So we looked around and say, where can you buy drinking water at the least or the most economical cost besides Vallecitos? And let's compare it. So the cost of refill water is about 50 cents a gallon from one of these machines. Cost of bottled water is about $1.74 a gallon, so that's pretty cheap. That's, you know, pretty inexpensive. And the cost of Vallecitos tap water is less than 2 cents a gallon. It's actually significantly less than 2 cents a gallon. So what does that mean? Let's put it into a little perspective of what that would actually do if people got their water from maybe one of the least expensive sources besides Vallecitos. So $2.50, you get 5 gallons of water here. That's pretty easy math. Now you need 150 jugs of water just to equal 1 unit. That's basically 750 gallons. I'm rounding up a little bit. And that would cost you $375. All of a sudden, that jug of water doesn't seem like a good deal compared to 2 cents, less than 2 cents a gallon. So if you did that for all 13 units a month, that's $4,875. That's ridiculous, right? Well, let's just do it for some of these more essential stuff. Let's just do a quarter of that. That's still $1,200 a month. And don't forget, you still have to go get that water and haul it to your house. It doesn't just show up magically at your tap. And also don't forget, jug water is just Vallecitos water, but at a higher price. All they do is take our water, chill it, put it through a carbon filter, kind of like a Brita filter, and charge you 50 cents. So we deliver the same amount of water for a little bit over $120 a month. It's a big difference. If you go the other way, Costco has free delivery, so you don't have to go drive it and get it. But you go get Costco bottles of water, a lot of people do that. You get 40 16.9 ounce bottles, roughly 5.3 gallons for $9. A pallet is $440. It'd take you 3 pallets, and after tax and CRV, $1,600 just to equate to 1 unit of water. Now, I didn't do the math and times that by 13 because the number's too big, but it gets really expensive really fast. And we're comparing all this to $120 a month. So what are we looking at? So for 748 gallons on our Tier 1 rate, our customers pay currently about $4.71. What we're looking at with the new wholesale water rate increase that we're going to pass through is now our customers for 748 gallons will basically pay about $5.32. But it's delivered right to your tap whenever you want it, whenever you need it. And our rate of customers being out of service on average is a fraction of a percentage over the course of a year. So we have, I don't know what it actually is, but it's more than 99% delivery rate. So what do you get for your less than 2 cents a gallon? Well, you get a dedicated team of professionals. You get clean, safe drinking water. We have specialized equipment. We have emergency preparedness. And we have constant professionals testing our water quality every week. Again, clean, safe, reliable drinking water consistently meets or exceeds all federal and state drinking water standards. I think you saw a presentation today that affirmed that also. You also get water's essential for a lot of things, combating fires. Water's essential for just even fire risks, the amount of fire pressure that we have, the fire volume that we have, 24/7 emergency response. This is why our customers' out of service times are so low. If water main breaks, as soon as we find out, we respond. What also people don't realize is we get a high percentage of desal water, and that's a drought-proof, drought-resilient source. And the quality of the water coming out of the desal plant is fairly equivalent to bottled water. And the majority of our customers receive a high percentage of desal water. So they're getting a high percentage of bottled water quality right from their tap. Again, for less than 2 cents, it's there 24/7. Emergency response. Water keeps on flowing. We protect human health and the environment. So staff likes to say this, you may have heard it before, is, turn the tap, there it is. Flush the toilet, there it goes, basically. And it's there 24/7. And it's really, really an amazing thing. And it's not magic. It takes hard work, dedication, planning to make this all happen. It takes everybody from the board all the way down to frontline staff to make this happen. So the importance of water, I'm not going to go through every slide, but just for our communities, our food source, our recreation, water is essential. And let's talk about the rate increase that we're looking at, and I don't want to steal all of Wes and Mike's thunder, so you'll be getting more details of this through them. So I'm kind of gonna give away the ending here a little bit, but they'll dig into the numbers a little bit more than I will. So our rate increases is proposed, and the public hearing is scheduled for October 15th, which is the next board meeting. Rates are necessary to continue to provide safe, reliable, sustainable services to our customers. And really, the rates are increasing because we need to cover our wholesale cost. And I think tonight's presentations will make that even more clear. Retail rates have increased slower than the wholesale rate, and that's really compounded the need to make a rate adjustment. And again, funds from our ratepayers go directly to our goals of providing exceptional, sustainable services. We reinvest back into the system. So when we collect money, it's invested back into maintenance, operations, and replacement, rejuvenation of the systems that our customers use. So 75% of our costs to deliver water is just purchasing water from our wholesale agency, which is primarily San Diego County Water Authority. Okay? Other costs that are in the 25% include inflationary costs, our SCG&E rising rates, stricter, more environmental compliance with ADS costs, regulations, replacement of aging infrastructure, emergency response. That's all in the 25%. The wholesale portion is 75%. Again, we're a nonprofit agency, so only the charges necessary to support the delivery is what we're looking at. Each customer pays their fair share based on the water that they order, that they deliver. They order it by turning on the tap. And we use that money to maintain the public facility, and the customer bills are used to maintain the existing system only. As always, the district will continue to honor our commitment to provide safe, reliable services at the lowest possible cost. The district continually strives to be among the best value providers in the county. So how are we combating our 25%, not the 75%? What are we doing here at Vallecitos? What is staff doing? It's quite a lot, and if I wanted to put everything down, it'd probably be slides and slides, so I tried to just summarize in a couple bullets. We strategically look at staffing and reduction of other operational costs, renegotiation of contracts, looking at cost savings. Over the last 2 years, we've effectively reduced the Vallecitos portion of what we need from a rate. We offset our Tier 1 and Tier 2 rates by using other revenues from other sources. And you'll see more details about that today. And moving water takes lots of energy. And so the district has invested in solar. And that solar offsets our power costs, which saves all of our customers money. So, how are we impacting customers? Currently, an average customer, single-family home, they pay about $111 a month for water. With the proposed rates, if it were to pass, it'd be about $126 a month for water. Even with the proposed rate increase, our average customers' cost will go from 1.15 cents, not dollars, a gallon, to 1.3 cents a gallon. Everything, level service, all the services that we provide, they're getting for 1.3 cents a gallon. So let's finally connect all the drops. So we continue to supply clean, safe, reliable drinking water at the highest level possible. We meet all regulatory standards. Our proposed water rate will maintain current levels of service for $0.0133 a gallon for a residential customer. That's the average cost to the average residential customer. The average residential customer makes up 80% of our meters. Well, there you go. I said that before the slide. So we're still the most economical choice for water available, and we provide very high value, very high quality, and a very high level of service. So Vallecitos Water, I think, is absolutely amazing. And I want to hand the rest of the presentation over to the finance dream team here to talk about our cost of service and our water rates, and I'll be available as with the rest of the staff for any questions.
Thank you. Okay, dream team, keep going.
Yeah, so before we get started, that was a lot of numbers, and I think I'm going to have to check your math, James.
Don't take off your shoes.
It looks good. Looks good.
I was making fun of Wes earlier, President, because I said I'm nervous when my CFO is doing math on his fingers.
It's just double checking.
I just had to check his math real quick. It looks good to me.
There you go, seal of approval.
So this is really Mike's presentation tonight, so I'll just wanted to throw in that joke and then pass it on to him. So with that, Mike.
Thank you. So James covered everything I was going to present, so move to approve. Okay, so
It's just a workshop.
I was really envious of James presenting all the numbers, but then I realized I've got a lot of numbers too, so we're ready to go. First,
check your math.
Yeah, first we are here for the 2025 Prop 218 cost of service study. So if you're in the wrong room, please get up and exit through the back doors. Jason, stay where you are.
He was ready to roll.
Yep. Okay, so real quick, the agenda for tonight. So we'll go over the summary of proposed changes. General Manager Campbell already went over the majority of the big things on there. So we'll go over, I'll try to make as interesting as possible the legal and strategic framework, some of the cost alignments and drivers that are affecting these rates, our rate structure and customer impacts, and then the wholesale to retail comparison, as well as then the closing and the next steps. So real quick, the summary of proposed changes. All of the things that we've done for these rate studies are compliant with Prop 218, so they ensure proportionality, transparency, and defensibility. As James mentioned, about 75 cents of the operating costs are driven by external wholesale agencies, and I wanted to kind of show a graphic. Oh, that'll be on the next slide, sorry. And then the average single-family residence, and we'll go over what that entails, is proposed to go up from $111 to about $126, a 13.2% adjustment. And at the cost of service study, and I can't emphasize this enough, I'll go through this and probably say it about 3 times during the presentation. They set the maximum rates and annual pass-through caps. Right now, we're proposing for the annual pass-through caps is 28% for like the Water Authority and SDG&E, and for our internal costs about 8%. So some of the key definitions or terms, well, Prop 218, it's the California constitutional requirement that rates cannot exceed the proportional cost. So if I mentioned the COSS is the cost of service study, it's really what we use to allocate all these costs to all the different cost drivers and components. Average single-family residence, I use that term a lot. What we're saying is that the average single-family residence is defined as a single-family residence with a 5/8" meter that uses 13 units per month. That's kind of like an industry standard when we go across the 22 agencies now. Some people use 12 units a month, some use 13, we use 13, and we want to stay consistent so that each year we can compare apples to apples on that. And with the Prop 218, I won't get into the legal too much of it. I'll kind of defer on that. But we give the ability for the customer to have a written protest that just says, hey, I'm opposed to these rates, versus a legal objection, which I believe is new this time around for us. And they have to specify that we are not in compliance with something in Prop 218. So they can't just say, I don't like your rates, they're too high. They have to specify exactly what it is that we are non-compliance in. So here's the exciting part. So the Prop 218 was enacted in 1996, and it regulates the taxation and assessments. Voter approval, in this case, the ability to protest. Property-related fee, it's got to be based on the cost of providing the proportional cost. Can exceed the proportional cost. You have to have a noticing requirement of at least 45 days. We've actually noticed, I believe, 54 days in advance to give us a little bit of time on the back end. And it just limits the power of local governments to just raise taxes on the customers. So a quick timeline. This actually started back in, well, years, probably a year ago, where we were looking at our current costs and our current rate. And because our current Prop 218 limitations, we can only raise rates up to 6.5%. That's what we put as our maximum in our current study. That covers us now. And as James was mentioning, the costs that are being passed on to us from the Water Authority are going into double digits. So there was a need to realign our costs. So we brought to the P3 committee the Prop 218 notice, which was mailed out to all of our customers. And that really started that 45-day notice period. We went on the 16th, we did an update to the Finance Committee. And I'm actually glad that Director Brown was actually there as a customer at the time, because she was able to hear some of this stuff, get a little background on that. So we're here today for the board workshop, and I will be asking you later on to accept the cost of service study and to affirm the public hearing on October 15th. The legal objection deadline is October 8th, so that would give us 7 days before the public hearing to kind of do a little bit of research and respond to those legal objections. So again, the hearing that I mentioned, it would be on the 15th to hopefully adopt rates, and then the new rates would be effective on January 1st, 2026. And the new study, we are covering, proposing for 4 years, it would cover calendar years 2026 through 2029. So real quick, the cost of service study process, it really begins with the financial planning, our budget. So we have a financial strategy adopted in the budget, and some of the guidelines are to have adequate cash reserves or debt service coverage ratio. From that budget, we derive what's called the revenue requirement. That's really the driving factor that gets fed into our cost of service study to determine rates. So the cost of service study then is actually trying to allocate those costs equitably to all of our different customers. We want to make sure it's all based on foundation for Prop 218 compliance. And then with that, it's the rate design. We do our rate model that spits out all these numbers. Again, in compliance with Prop 218, as I mentioned, the 4-year structure. What I also want to mention is, if approved on October 15th, that'll approve rates for January of 2026. Each subsequent year, we'll still have to come back to the board, even though we have these pass-throughs in, we still have to come back to the board at least 30 days before rates are adopted, and you would have to approve them. It's not another public hearing, but we do require board approval for that. So what is the cost of service study? As I mentioned, it aligns the revenue with the demands based on each customer group. So it makes sure that there's no cross subsidies. We can't have one group, have a discount, for example, on the backs of someone else. And then we do allocate costs based on the fixed or the ready to serve portion, and the variable or the commodity charge. That's that per unit charge. So why are we here? I kind of told you our limitations with our current Prop 218 is that we can't pass through more than 6.5% from the Water Authority. And the rates from the Water Authority have gone up double digits in some years. So that's that 75% that James was mentioning earlier with both the Water Authority and SDG&E. They've had double-digit increases in recent years. Now, they say a picture is worth, I'll say a picture is worth 2,000 words, and normally it's 1,000 words, but inflation. So the other 25% James alluded to, it covers our capital investment needs, and again, that is for repair and replacement of existing infrastructure. And then our operating budget, so it's our ongoing cost to sustain our core services. So the rate proposal, 4 years. There's the rate guardrails, which sets the maximum rates. Again, the pass-through from Water Authority and San Diego Gas and Electric would be 28% per year, and internal costs are 8% a year. Again, maximum.
So just a question on that. So hypothetically, then, if we adopt this 218, then we could raise the rates by 36%? Would you add those two together?
No, it's not. It's the 70, remember, it's 75% of Water Authority, so it'd be 75% of 28%, which is 21%. Okay. I'm gonna get into a lot of geeky numbers here. And then 25% of it is at 8%, which is 2%. So 21 plus 2, the maximum would be 23.
Okay, thanks.
Over that 4-year period.
Each year.
Each year.
Each year.
So
And
this
I'll
is
show
just
you.
saying like the max per year.
This is the max per year.
It was previously 6.5%.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'll show you an example of that with the current rates that we're proposing. And again, we can't exceed the cost of providing the service. So if the Water Authority was 12% next year and our internal costs were 6%, we would take this, 75% of X, 25% of Y, and that would be what I would come back to you next year for a proposal.
Yeah, and just to be clear, just to reiterate again, these are the maximum settings, so what our actual costs are, what the actual rate that we get from Water Authority is what we'll be analyzing, and every year the board will get a presentation and we'll have to adopt the rate before it passes, when we have to do that at least 30 days before. So every year, most likely in the fall, staff is gonna come back and say, this is the new 2027 rate from the Water Authority, this is what our internal costs are, here's the new proposed rate.
We just don't have to do a new 218.
Nope.
Correct.
So it's also important to mention that the reason that we have,
Yeah, sorry,
so the reason we actually have caps is we are required to per Prop 218. So we have to have a maximum in there. It's the only reason why we do. We've asked if we can just pass through actual costs, but we actually have to state a maximum. So we just wanted to state a maximum that we are hoping is sufficient to cover costs for the next 4 years.
And as we mentioned, it requires board adoption each year, at least 30 days prior to the rate increase. So let me walk you through the example bill real quick. So as we've mentioned, the current customer, the average single-family residence, 13 units of water, their bill would be $111.49 as of today. With the new rate increase, it would go to $126.22, almost $15 increase or 13.2%. I thought, how can I slice this and dice this a little bit differently to give you a different perspective? And I was actually shocked with the results of this. So what this slide is showing is the cost component breakdown between what Vallecitos' portion of the water bill is versus the pass-through amounts from the Water Authority. So currently that $111 bill, about $25.50 of it is our cost, our internal cost being passed through to the customer. And almost $86 is the Water Authority's portion. The next slide is the one that really was an aha moment for me. With the proposal to go from 111 to 126, the really shocking part is, look at the VWD column. The VWD portion is actually going down about $2. And I'll just bring in the math here. It's going down $2.09, while the Water Authority's portion is going up $16.82. So you might ask yourself, or ask me, why? How does that make sense? I'll go over that in a second. So the VWD's portion is actually going down 8.2%, with the Water Authority going up 19.6%. And again, that gets you the melded 13.2% overall. So some of the reasons why the VWD portion is going down is now that we're able to pass through all of Water Authority's costs, we don't have to carry that burden. The other reason, and I believe General Manager Campbell mentioned, was the discretionary revenue that we have the ability to offset some of these costs. Discretionary revenue would include things like property tax, redevelopment revenue, and there's some other things like cell site revenue and things like that. Those we have discretion to do, and we've chosen in this cost of service study to offset some of the costs for Tier 1 and Tier 2, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute. So here's where we were talking about the caps. So that if this was next year, for example, and these were the actual costs that came through duplicating the cost for this year, the cap for the Water Authority is 28%. The actual amount is 19.6%. So we wouldn't pass through 28%, we'd pass through the 19.6. And again, 75% of that. Don't want to get too geeky on that. And again, the cap for the internal is proposed to be 8%. But right now, we're actually proposing to decrease our portion 8.2%. So that's how the caps would work. They are just a maximum amount. And again, as Wes mentioned, it's because we have to put in a maximum amount in there.
And just to reiterate this, when Mike first showed me this reduction, I was pleasantly shocked myself. And working through the reasons why, and also some of it was I showed in the tactical plan presentation, those ongoing savings, the turnaround in budget concerns, the savings that we were seeing on the little things that have added up along with increased revenue sources. All those little things add up, and we're actually seeing real results of how that affects our customers.
And so one of those savings, which we mentioned in the Finance Committee a couple of weeks ago, was the solar savings. We mentioned solar a little bit earlier. Just for example, I believe the 5 year savings of that is about $491,000. That gets rolled into customer rates, and that helps stabilize and offset some of the impacts. So again, I just want to kind of reiterate what's the cost attribution breakdown of what's driving that 13.2%. So the top portion here is the San Diego County Water Authority, and I broke it down between their commodity and their rated to serve. Their commodity rate that affects us going up from $5.36 to about $6.29, 93 cent per unit increase, or 17.4%. And those where the red lines are, those are per unit cost, the 748 gallons. Their rated to serve is going from $16.31 to $21.04. About a 29% increase. And I don't know if you recall from last year, we mentioned that the Water Authority is now shifting some of their burden of costs from their commodity into rated to serve. That's another reason why we wanted to do this combined 28%, is in this example, with the old Prop 218, we would only be able to raise the rates 6.5%, even though they're 17.5 and 29. So there is a definite need for that. And again, to help explain why our portion is going down, that property tax and RDA revenue that we mentioned, right now in our current rates, it's offsetting Tier 1 costs by about 76 cents per unit, I'm sorry. That means we're actually selling the water for less than it costs us to produce by backfilling it with that revenue from property tax and RDA. For 2026, we're proposing to increase that credit, which is a good thing, another 32 cents, so $1.08. So then our rated to serve portion would actually go up from $25.41 to about $26, a 2.5% increase. Oops. So the key takeaways is that the pass-throughs are the driving, SCCWA, pass-throughs are the driving factor of the majority of this increase. While VWD's portion is stable or declining, the total bill increases would be about 13.2%. And the rate structure remains compliant, equitable, and financially sustainable. So then I wanted to do kind of a short history of the wholesale cost component versus the cost that we're passing on to our customer. So this is a 4-year showing of the cost per acre foot. And you can see in fiscal year 20, at the top line, first of all, is the percentage of the budget. And I've been mentioning in all my previous budget presentations to you how the costs from Water Authority are increasing every year. It was 71.9%, now it's about 74.8%. The cost per acre foot is the next row, from $22.61 in fiscal year 23 to $30.39 this coming year. So you'd see that the increases for those 3-year periods is an average increase of 10.4%. That's on the purchased water that we buy. So on to our customer. In fiscal year 23, the average cost was about $98.70, and as we mentioned, going up to 126.22 for an average annual increase of 8.5%. So the 26 customer bill increase of 13.2% is really realigning some of the retail rates with the underlying cost pressures and also kind of catching up from that prior rate cap constraints. And just to show it in graphical form, this is the cumulative increase from those numbers above. So the blue line is the costs that were passed on to us from the Water Authority. The 3-year combined is 34.4%, and our customer increase is about a little under 28%. So we talked about the average single-family residence. They're not our only customers. I wanted to bring in our entire rate structure here. So the top portion is our commodity cost for tier 1s, tier 2, tier 3. And the average increase is right around 13% from 10.87 to 13.83. So roughly in the neighborhood of 13% overall. The bottom portion is our ready to serve portion. And it also is in the same rate range of about 10 to 13%. And that's why our average single family residence is going to go up about 13%. So what this is really saying, in other cost studies that we've done, it might not be so equitable because of the cost drivers. It might be that irrigation might go up 18%, or different size meter might go up 2%. This one is actually pretty equitable all across the board. So for the first time, we're actually including pump zones with the cost of service study. So when you approve, if hopefully you approve rates on the 15th in 2 weeks, you'll also be approving the pump zone rate charges. So again, the pump zone charges are the aim to strive to hit 95% of the SDG&E costs for each of the zones. And this proposal increases the rates by about 12 to 13% again, which is the cost increase from SDG&E. So this is the cost per zone per unit of water.
And just as a reminder, we got about 3,000 out of our 22,000+ customers, so about 3,000 are in the pump zone. And this only captures our SDG&E costs of them. It doesn't capture our normal operations, maintenance, and replacement of the pump station. So this is just for SDG&E portion of operating the pump station.
So in summary, the proposed rates meet all the requirements under Prop 218. The driving factor is external wholesale costs of about 75%. The average single-family residence bill will increase from $111 to about $126. The cost of service study would be a 4-year with the maximum caps, again, 28% for external, which is basically the Water Authority and SDG&E, and 8% internal. And just as a reiteration that the retail rates have lagged behind the wholesale increases, and this proposal will really realign them to ensure long-term fiscal stability. This kind of repeats a lot of what was in my summary, but the adjustments reflect the disciplined internal cost control and transparent planning. The rates remain capped and structured to protect affordability while also ensuring that we have service reliability. And the district does remain committed to long-term financial stability and public accountability. And in future rate actions will continue to be grounded in the cost of service principles and legal compliance. So with that, I will be asking for acceptance of the cost of service study that was dated August 21st, 2025, and also to affirm the public hearing scheduled for October 15th, 2025. And again, this is just the calendar that I showed earlier. And at this point, I'm open to any questions or discussion from the board.
Why, thank you, Mike. And Wes and James, that's a lot of information.
Yes, it is.
And it's late, and I have a lot of questions, darn it. No, but before I ask a couple, any questions, comments? Yes.
Just an excellent presentation, excellent. I mean, that gives us everything we should need to know. And just to give you, I just heard on the news yesterday, San Diego is going to raise their rates 60% over the next 3 years.
Yeah, and if you remember the last presentation I brought to the board, I actually showed my own personal water authority bill. I'm City of San Diego resident. And I now have 3 bills, they bill bi-monthly, 3 bills in a row. Each bill, the rates increased. So in 2 months it increased, and 2 months later it increased, and now they're doing a 62%, I believe, over
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Which actually the board delayed until October 28th, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah. And move to San Marcos.
Yeah, I used to live here.
Any other comments?
No.
Questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to Wes and Mike and the finance team. We as a finance committee have heard many presentations for the budget process and now the rate process, and so we've been on board with it as well. Thank you.
Yes. So just a couple clarifying questions. They're not long, just so I know. First, that Lisa, who helped you with your PowerPoint? Lisa?
Lisa.
Man, give her, that's a shout out to her. That was great. Our current, is it a 4-year, our current 218?
It is a 5-year, and it would normally expire December 31st of 2026. If we don't approve this in 2 weeks, we would revert back to our current 5-year one, which would be a 6.5% cap, which would really tie our hands.
So that was approved 4 years ago?
4-ish years ago.
At caps of?
6.5%.
And
4%.
6.5 and 4.
And at the time, just to backtrack a little bit, at the time we did that back in 2020, I think it was 2020, the previous rates increases from the Water Authority were 4%, 4.4%, 5%. Nothing even hit 6%. So we're thinking, 6.5%, we're good. And
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, a lot of things happened.
So we're proposing a 13.2. What have been our increases over, say, the last 8 years? Is there I know it's a lot to ask, but
Yeah, so I know over the last 4, if we do this one, it would be that 8 point whatever it was. But I'll get you the exact number, but it'd probably be around the 6.5 to 7%.
Each year?
Average per year. I can get you exact.
Average per year over the last 5 years, about 6.5%.
Yeah, I can get you the actual amounts.
No, I just wanted average.
It's probably even less because during COVID, many agencies, including the water authorities, held back rate increases and did a 0% rate increases. And then there's a year that they only did a 1 or 2% rate increase.
Right.
So that kind of, with the water authority, that kind of put them behind the 8 ball because then that was immediately followed by 2 very wet winters, which they used up their literal rainy day fund in those COVID years, so.
Gotcha, okay. And then you said something about definition of groups, not falling on, what's the definition of a group?
A lot of agencies will use customer class, for example, irrigation versus multifamily versus single family, commercial, industrial. We use it by meter size, so when we talk about groups, we'll charge by meter size. So we identify all 5H customers as basically the same. They get the same tier allotment, the same tier cost.
Gotcha. Thank you. So my only concern is question, and I know this might be an odd one, we're proposing a 28 cap and an 8. And why, how did you determine those numbers? How did we come up with those 28 and 8? I mean, why don't we put a 38 and a 16 so we don't have to do a cost? Because we're not gonna go above that. Again, that's just a directive. We're only gonna charge a basic pass-through rate.
So there's several things. So the water authority at the time when we're looking at it was looking at, close to 25, 18%, 20%, and they're also looking at almost 25 to 30% on their commodity rate. And obviously we knew they had a long road. We didn't know where the water authority was going to go, but City of Carlsbad, Santa Fe Irrigation District, and some other agencies recently adopted a 30% pass-through. Other agencies and GMs were talking about doing roughly around a 38% pass-through on the cap. And we ended up with 28 as a suggestion from our President PENNOCK at the Finance Committee meeting. He said, you know what, or maybe it was P3, sorry, 28. 28 sounds better than 30. So that's how we ended up there, sir.
When I'm getting old.
Sorry, it was a while ago though.
Well, that's interesting how you take my recommendations. I just thought I threw those out. No, it's good to know you listen.
Well, but by the time you did that, shortly after, the water authority started settling on their rates, so we knew that 28 would more than cover us for this year. then, but we didn't know, because what the Water Authority has done is they've reduced the upcoming 2026 rates with an assumption that they're going to sell more water or be more profitable in 2027. So that's very dangerous. All the general managers kind of just held our breath when we heard that. But that's kind of what they had to do to pass it. So the current rates from the Water Authority that's been adopted for 2026 has an assumption that in 2027, things will be better, whether they sell more water or whatever it is, that they could basically use some of the assumed profits from 2027. They're basically borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. You know, and it may not be that quite dramatic, but there's a little bit of assumption in there. So we were still concerned that next year, the 2027 rate from the Water Authority can be significant.
Yeah, so we had initially proposed 30%, but we felt after our presentation that the 28% was a well-informed recommendation.
Thank you.
I like that 28 number now.
May I ask a question?
Yes, and that's all my questions, so thank you, yes.
So if the board passes this tonight,
We wouldn't be passing it tonight, it's just a recommendation to approve it on the 15th.
on the 15th?
Yes.
Okay. So at the next meeting, it becomes approved. And if there is no one in the public hearing or anybody from the public to be here to know what's going on, how will we let everybody know?
So first, what I should have mentioned is, and I want Kirsten to correct me if the numbers have updated. So far, we mailed out the Prop 218 about 4 weeks ago, and as of last count that I knew, we had 3 letters of protest. Is that still correct? Yes. 3 protests and no legal challenges. So let me just tell you technically what would need to happen. In 2 weeks, we would need for the board to not be able to vote on it, we would need 50% plus 1 objections. So that would be 11,000-ish, and we have 3, so we're almost there.
And if the board at the public hearing and after it closes the public hearing adopts the new cost of service study in the 218, then staff would do the appropriate notification to all of our customers that this action has happened. And then these rates will be in effect come January 2026, unless the board action is otherwise, but that's what's being proposed.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just trying to think about if nobody shows up and we don't say anything at the January meeting, you're going to see a lot of people here saying, what happened?
Yeah, we'll put either an insert in the bill or a separate mailer. Plus, we'll make sure that it gets on our website and things like that too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, discussion, comments? So with that, going on, may I have a motion to, 1, accept the cost of service study dated August 21, 2025, and 2, affirm the public hearing scheduled for October 15th, 2025, regular board meeting.
Can we make a motion on both of them together?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right, that's right, 1 and 2 together.
So moved on 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Please vote. Motion passes, and we look forward to 2 weeks from today. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Great
Great
presentation
job.
across the board.
Thank you, guys.
Moving on to, that's the end of the action items. Moving on to general manager report.
Just 3 dates for the board. October 7th, we'll be doing smoke testing on Rancho Santa Fe Road over by the entrance of Lake San Marcos. We've notified customers, but in case any board members get an email, that's what's going on.
What's a smoke test?
That's where we put smoke into the sewer lines to see if there's any leaks. We've had a nice video. Maybe we'll go ahead and send the board the video of our last smoke testing, so this way they're aware of it.
For medicinal purposes only.
Neither. Not coming through the sewer pipes, please.
See, I knew you were gonna laugh today.
On October 10th, there's a possible tour for the board for a large concrete pour at our Montiel lift station. So Kirsten and the engineering team will coordinate to see if there's any board members that are interested in going out. It may get canceled or rescheduled, but at this point right now, it's October 10th. And it'll be it'll be an invite from the district to look at basically a construction facility. If you can make it, great, but there'll be other opportunities if you can't. And last but not least, our Public Water Academy for our customers, basically our open house event, is going to occur on October 30th. There's opportunity for the board members to attend the whole thing. Come for introductions in the morning, come for the lunch. But if you do decide to come, please let Kirsten know, so this way we could expect you. And I will be actually out of town for the Water Academy because it's my oldest's parents' week at college. So we're not going to miss our first kid's parents' week. So I'll be missing the festivities. I'm going to leave it in the very capable hands of my team, and Jason's going to be taking my portion, which I'm sure he'll outshine me in the presentation.
Hitting it out of the park.
He's not much of a baseball player. You need a different analogy.
I know. He thought I went to the game today, so I knew he didn't know much about Chicago Padres.
I tried. The Chicago Padres. How are the Bear Cubs? That concludes my report.
Thank you. District Legal Counsel.
Just a brief item, as I mentioned, I think at the last meeting, the legislative session is closed and there are hundreds of bills sitting on the governor's desk. He has until October 12th to sign them. 2 days ago, he did sign SB 53, which is the Transparency and Frontier Artificial Intelligence Act. I haven't been able to get AI to decipher it for me yet, but it's intended to enhance online safety, putting guardrails, so to speak, on the use of AI. The other one that we're kind of waiting on is SB 707, which is a proposed amendment to the Brown Act. CSDA, I think, has come out in favor of him not vetoing it because they got some concessions, but the League of Cities and others are requesting vetoes of the bill. It would significantly change how the Brown Act applies to the open meetings. It deals with the transparency, et cetera, but it includes enhanced requirements for transcribing agendas, meeting minutes, and other things that would be a fiscal constraint on some agencies. There are limits on who it would apply to. They've tried to apply it to major cities, et cetera. So if that passes, we'll come back and present you with details on what parts of that will affect Vallecitos. Going forward, it would go into effect January 1st of 2026. That's SB 707.
So my understanding that's for larger agencies, right? And probably would not affect us.
Probably not. I think it's 10,000, so I think San Marcos would get hit, and so there's a question of,
10,000 population or 10,000 employees?
10,000 population, I think is what it is. So.
What are the new requirements? You have to have more details that you're providing?
You have to translate your agendas and provide transcripts of the meetings in all languages represented by, I think it's a 20% population determination. So anywhere where you have any non-English speaking sector over 20%, you're going to have to just transcribe to that language. Think of like LA and places like that, could be significant burden. I know Fresno has multiple different languages being spoken, percentages over that. So that's the main issue.
Thank you. Appreciate that. San Diego County Water Authority.
Yes, okay, so we met last week, and there's a few presentations that we didn't vote on that I wanted to share anyway. Actually, no, I take that back. We did sort of vote on this one. So there's a proposal to create an energy storage facility at San Vicente Dam. So we're in the process of doing a feasibility analysis for that. So we actually voted to extend that contract to do the feasibility study. So it would actually be a large amount of energy storage, and it would be the equivalent of 300 football fields of battery energy in that storage. So We awarded a $5 million on-call contract for CFRP, that's carbon fiber reinforced pipe repair. We awarded a construction contract to Brightview Landscape Development for $12 million, which apparently was $5 million over budget. So we had a pretty spirited debate again on the PLA. There was several public speakers that called into the meeting saying that the PLA is costing the agency a lot of money, and it's restricting smaller businesses from bidding on these projects. But we did approve it because this was the second time it went out and the work needed to be done. So we did approve that. There was a presentation on the PSAR, which is the Permanent Special Agricultural Water Rate. That's set to expire. So there was a presentation on, and what it is, just to kind of share with the public, is that agricultural customers get a lot lower rate for their water than residential customers, and it really sustains our agricultural industry in the county. So there seemed to be a lot of support from the board on extending that further. The problem with taking it away is that when you lose those agricultural customers, you also lose the demand for the water that would be a shared burden for all of the agencies. So there was a really long discussion about that. Let's see, what else? Oh, and then there was also a presentation on local water supply exchange, and that's kind of the beginning phases of exploring selling our more expensive, or selling our QSP water to agencies that don't have the supply that we have, other agencies in the region that all buy water from Metropolitan Water District. So it's kind of an interesting idea where the agency could make money and take advantage of the large amount of supply that we have in the area, and help kind of take off the financial burden. So that was about it. Any comments or questions on County Water Authority? Okay.
How long was that meeting? You had some long discussions, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was a pretty long one. Yeah, we were done before 5 though, so it was 9 to 4:30, I think, so.
Okay, thank you. ENCINA Wastewater Authority?
Yes, the board approved the roof replacement and the HVAC improvements to the cogen building. And we also approved the purchase of a trailer jockey. If you remember, it's just a truck that moves our hauling material around the campus. And that was it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any standing committees? No? No standing committees, directors' reports on meetings, conferences, seminars attended? None? It sounds like a seminar at the San Diego County Water Authority. Any other business, future agenda items? And if not, this meeting is adjourned before 7.
All right.